When a young woman wakes up and finds herself in a strange-looking box, she is certain that someone has buried her alive. With only the voice of a robot to guide her as time runs out, how does she escape this fearful situation? Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today we will review and recap the French thriller called Oxygen. Let's check it out.
The movie begins in a dark room with a woman in a plastic bag of some sort. She appears to be sleeping, or most likely sedated. Eventually, she wakes up in a panic. She begins to struggle in the plastic bag. Eventually, she's able to open it using her mouth. Her breathing slowly becomes normal. She also struggles to free her hand, but manages to do so. She continues to free herself from the sack-like plastic. All of a sudden, the pod where she is lights up, and an automated voice announces the failure of the system. It also says that the current oxygen level is at 35%. As she seeks to find out who she is speaking with, the voice tells her that it is the medical interface liaison operator, Milo, an AI technology. The woman, Liz, demands to know what is happening, and Milo interprets this to mean a request for the report status. It reveals to her that she is in a cryogenic pod, which is really a freezer of some sort for people whose bodies need to be preserved. Liz has just found herself in a situation very similar to those guys in the movie Universal Soldiers. It's just that this time, she's not a soldier, nor is she unconscious. Tough luck. Immediately, she has a flashback of being wheeled to the hospital. She grows more and more terrified and begins to pound on the pod, asking to be let out. Liz is getting desperate as she tries to figure out how she got into this situation. She believes that she must be terminally ill to be committed to a cryogenic pod. She speaks with Milo to find out if anyone is coming to check up on her since her pod has failed. Milo tells her that the information about the pod's failure has been transmitted, but there's been no response yet.
Liz is in a state of sheer terror. She has no idea of who she is, where she is, or what she's doing. It also appears that she suffers from claustrophobia as she hyperventilates from time to time. Her future appears bleak, and unless something happens immediately, she is certain that nothing good can come out of her present condition.
She tries to calm down by telling herself that she's not actually trapped in a pod. As this happens, she has flashbacks and fragmented images of her past, with her family and some place that looks like a lab. With all of this, she still cannot remember clearly who she is. She asks Milo to tell her who she is, but Milo is silent. When she asks for the patient's identification, it tells her that she has been identified as Omicron 267. As much as she tries to pry her real name from Milo, it is unable to tell her. She requests to see her face, and he turns on the monitor above her head. As she stares at her face, she has flashbacks of her husband and her home. The oxygen level in the pod drops and is now at about 33%. Milo advises that she conserve her oxygen usage so she doesn't suffocate. She asks for her medical records as she wants to know why she's in the pod, but Milo tells her that the records and the cause of her being inside the pod are not available. Liz asks Milo to let her out of the pod. Milo, however, advises against it, but she insists, and Milo initiates the process of unlocking the pod.
But, I mean, the movie's only 25% done, so Liz shouldn't be getting out of the pod that easily, right?
Milo asks for the authorization code to continue with the unlocking, but Liz doesn't know it.
For someone who doesn't even remember her own name, how on earth is she supposed to remember the activation code the AI wants?
Liz is frustrated, and she pounds on the pod. A thought comes to her mind, and she asks Milo to call the police using a dedicated line. Milo does, and the police control room receives the call. Liz asks for help, and the police ask for her name and current address. Unfortunately, she is unable to respond as she has no memory of anything. The policeman is, however, convinced. He promises to help, starting with tracing the source of her call. The policeman also wants to know the manufacturer and serial number of the pod. Fortunately, she is able to provide these. The policeman transfers her call to his superiors, but the call gets disconnected. She asks for a DNA analysis to be done on her, and Milo does it. As she looks through her personal files, she realizes her name is Elizabeth. A call from a scientist, Moreau, comes in, and she tells him her name. Moreau asks her how much oxygen she has left. Milo tells her that the maximum time left before the oxygen runs out is 72 minutes. But at her rate of consumption, it would be out in 43 minutes.
So what exactly would you have her do, Milo? Just breathe with one nostril?
Moreau also has some bad news. The pod with her serial number was reportedly destroyed 3 years ago. This means it would be a whole lot more difficult to find her. Liz asks for a full medical report, and Milo tells her that she is perfectly fine. This is supposed to cheer her up, but she becomes really frustrated as she believes that someone has put her there. Moreau tries to calm her down as her blood pressure spikes. Suddenly, the line goes dead again. Her oxygen levels drop to 29%, and a sedative injection is released. Liz dodges the frightful needle and forces it back into its place. All the while, Milo warns her about this act. As her oxygen levels continue to drop, she asks Milo for more of her records. She discovers that she is married to a scientist with a doctorate in cryogenics. She asks Milo to call for Leo, which is supposed to be her husband's number, so she can speak with him. But a woman who takes the call rudely warns her not to call again. Shortly afterwards, Moreau calls again. Liz tells him about her husband Leo, but Moreau says, according to their records, she has never been married. She doesn't believe this and tells Milo to search for Leo's records, but there are none of him. She then asks for a picture of them together, but as she looks at the picture, Leo, her husband, is no longer in it. Liz requests the codes to open the pod, and Moreau assures her that she will have them soon. He continues to tell her that Leo is not real. Liz doesn't believe Moreau any longer as she is sure of her husband's existence. She ends the call. Her suspicion is reinforced when she replays a recording of her conversation with Moreau. In it, she overhears him whispering with others about what to say to her next. She is upset about this.
Liz's frustration grows. Not only is she held captive in a strange-looking box, but the people who should help her are lying to her. Her mind is spinning as she tries to compare what is real and what is not. She's fearful, angry, confused, and she doesn't know who or what to trust anymore.
A phone call comes in from the woman who initially told her never to call again. The woman claims to know where she is and wants to help her. Liz doesn't trust the woman and insists that she wants to speak with her husband, Leo. The woman tells her that Leo is dead. Liz turns off the call, but the woman calls back. As she prepares to disconnect the call, she tells her that she has the activation codes to open the pod. Liz demands it, and the woman gives in. When Liz enters the activation code, she finds out that she is not on Earth. She's made to understand by the woman that she is over 42,000 miles away from Earth. Liz is shocked and very confused at this point. The woman tells her that she woke up too soon from a hypersleep that she had been put in after an incident with an asteroid. It turns out that she is part of a mission to colonize a new planet as the Earth's humanity is threatened and will be wiped out after the next 2 generations. The woman explains to her that the Earth has suffered from a plague. As a result, her husband Leo, along with millions of others, lost their lives. Because of the secrecy of the mission, people were told to lie to Liz so she would waste her oxygen and lose her life, instead of spreading panic when news of her consciousness emerged. Liz agrees to work with this strange woman who has somewhat gained her trust. Unfortunately, as they speak, the woman is interrupted by security operatives who disconnect the call, but not before she tells Liz that all the answers she is looking for are with her. She only needs to recollect her memory. Liz continues to jog her memory, remembering pieces of her past. She recalls that Leo is really sick, but he tells her that they will meet again. She believes that he might also be close by. She then remembers a number assigned to both of them and asks Milo to search for it. Milo presents the pod with the number and she asks Milo to open it. When it does, she sees that it's Leo. She is excited until she discovers that he no longer has a scar on his head. As she probes deeper, she asks Milo how old she is. Milo tells her that she is a little over 12 years old. This is the same number of years that the woman she spoke with said she had been in hypersleep. She then asks Milo to give her the identity of the woman who spoke with her. And you won't believe this, but the woman is none other than Liz herself. It turns out that Liz in the pod is a clone, and so is the Leo that she saw. All the pods contain clones who have been sent to go colonize and populate a planet that is many light years away from Earth. She cries in anger as she realizes that she is, at best, a disposable scientific experiment. After a while, she asks to leave a message for Leo, and at this point, her oxygen level is dangerously low at 3%. Because of this, an injection to end her life is recommended without any warning. Fortunately, she stopped this dangerous injection just in time.
Liz finally makes some sense out of this whole fiasco. It is, however, a very unpleasant truth. She is only a scientific experiment. She is disposable. However, she's a fighter at heart and wants to survive at all costs. She has no plans to cheaply hand over her life, as she plans on determining her end all by herself.
She tells Milo to put her back to hypersleep. This is probably so she can sleep off and never wake up, rather than choke when her oxygen runs out. However, she is told that this is no longer possible as she has taken off most of the gadgets that were placed on her to induce hypersleep. She manages to put on all the gadgets for hypersleep to make it happen. She stops her recording and prepares for her eternal sleep. Suddenly, she remembers that there are other pods like hers who were displaced too when they were hit by an asteroid, and whose clones within them are no longer alive. She asks Milo what their oxygen capacity is, and he tells her that these pods all have full capacity oxygen. Liz is so excited that she begins to cry. She tells Milo to divert their oxygen to her pod. Milo preps her for hypersleep. After that, it begins to divert some of the oxygen to her pod. As the movie ends, Leo and Liz are seen on a beach on the new planet as they hug each other in preparation to start a new life here.
Hey, just be sure not to pollute the new planet like you did Earth before escaping, alright? Although this movie was basically shot in one location with a few flashbacks, it doesn't fail to grip the viewers. It's a brilliant piece of movie directing as it holds up the promise of a great cliffhanger. Nothing was certain or given away, so you gotta watch it all the way through. If you ask me, it's a great piece of work. If you enjoy claustrophobic cliffhangers with great storytelling and a spice of suspense, you'll be sure to want to check this one out. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload. And also, don't forget to suggest movies that you want us to recap in the future in the comments down below.